Here. It's okay. You need this more than I do. Caspian Merritt said it gently, already unwrapping the sandwich before the words were fully out. He was 33 years old, had been sitting on the bench outside Aldenmore Station for 2 hours with his paper bag on his knees, the only food he had for the day, and the 4-year-old girl in front of him had been crying for 7 minutes with the quiet exhaustion of a child who has been frightened long enough to lose the energy for loud crying. She wore a yellow coat with a ladybug on the pocket. She was alone in the middle of a Thursday crowd that had organized itself around her without slowing. Caspian had waited 6 minutes. He had told himself someone else would notice. He had understood after 6 minutes that this was not going to be the case. He crouched to her level and held out the sandwich. "What's your name?" She looked at it, then at him. A long pause, the kind that belongs to children deciding whether an adult is safe. Then, "Juniper." A small hiccup. "I can't find my mama." "Okay, Juniper. I'm Caspian. We're going to find her. But first, are you hungry? Take this. I'll be right here the whole time." She took it with both hands and ate with the focused solemnity of a child for whom hunger has been the most immediate problem. Caspian sat cross-legged on the pavement beside her, at her level, which is where he needed to be. He had been sleeping in the Aldenmore shelter for 9 months. Before that, a licensed electrician, a steady client base, a small apartment on the north side. He had built it carefully over 8 years, the way people build things when they know there is no one to catch them, methodically, without waste, with the particular discipline of someone who understands that the margins are thin, and that keeping them intact is a daily practice. A medical emergency, a contractor dispute that cost him 3 months of income, and a lease that ended at exactly the wrong moment, had collapsed his circumstances with the speed that circumstances collapse when everything arrives at once. He was not careless. He was unlucky in the way of people who have no safety net and encounter the one thing that requires one. The sandwich had been bought that morning from the Mercer Street cart, the last of his money until Friday. He gave it away in 30 seconds without calculating the cost, because a child was crying and he had food, and the mathematics were that simple. Juniper told him her mother's name was Celeste, that they had been buying a ticket, that she had seen a dog and followed it, and then the dog was gone, and her mama was not where she had been. Caspian listened. Then he found a transit officer at the north entrance, and within 12 minutes, Juniper's mother came running from the main hall. Her name was Celeste Drummond, 30 years old. She gathered Juniper against her and held her and closed her eyes, and when she opened them, she saw the man with the empty wax paper beside him and no sandwich, and the quiet relief of someone whose job is done. "You found her," Celeste said, voice unsteady. "She found me mostly," Caspian said. "She told me your name and everything. She's very brave." Celeste looked at the wrapper. She looked at him, worn jacket, the paper bag that held nothing now, and understood what had happened. "You gave her your food?" she said. "She was hungry," he said, "and I was here." She reached for her bag. He shook his head. "Please don't," he said. "She needed it. That's enough." She looked at him for a long moment. "At least your name?" "Caspian Merritt." She nodded once, the careful nod of someone storing something, and took Juniper's hand and walked back toward the main hall. Caspian sat on his bench with his empty bag, and the morning continued. He did not know that Celeste Drummond had built Drummond Capital from a single office into a firm operating across 4 states. Nothing about her, jeans, plain coat, transit ticket, communicated it, and he had not been the kind of person who looked at people for what they might provide. He had looked at a crying child and done what was available. Celeste sat in the car afterward with Juniper asleep beside her, thinking about the wrapper, about the refusal. Not proud, not performing, just clear.
She needed it, that's enough. She asked her assistant to find what she could about a man named Caspian Merritt in the Aldenmore area. 3 days. What came back was a history she recognized in its general shape, not the result of bad choices, but of circumstances that had arrived together and without mercy. Licensed electrician, good references from former clients who described him as meticulous, honest, and reliable. 9 months at the shelter, day labor through a temp firm on Eastern Avenue. She went to the shelter herself. He came to the front desk with the wariness of someone who has learned that being summoned is rarely good news. She told him she ran facilities management. 3 commercial properties in the Mercer district needed an electrician with a current license. The pay was fair. Could he start Monday? He went still. Then, "I don't need charity." "I know," she said. "I need a licensed electrician. You are one. That's the whole transaction." He looked at her. "How did you find me?" "I told you your name," she said. "I paid attention." He started Monday, careful, precise, honest about what he found and what it would take to fix it. He showed up when he said he would, so consistently that Celeste's property manager mentioned it after the first week with the tone of someone reporting something unusual. What Caspian didn't know was that Celeste had understood exactly who he was from the moment she walked into the shelter. She hadn't told him because she didn't want his gratitude to change the texture of the work, and because she needed an electrician, and he was one, and keeping those 2 things clean was the respectful version of what she was doing. He found out 3 months later, not from her, from Juniper. He had come to Celeste's office building on Fenwick Street. Juniper was there for the afternoon. She saw Caspian in the hallway and said, with the direct certainty of a child who has stored something carefully, "You're the man who gave me the sandwich." He went still. Then he looked at Celeste in the doorway. "She remembers everything," Celeste said. "I'm sorry I didn't tell you. I was trying to." "I understand," he said quietly. He looked at Juniper. "How's the ladybug jacket?" "It has a button missing," Juniper said gravely. "Mama is going to sew it." He laughed, a real one, surprised out of him, and something in the hallway settled into something warmer than it had been. He had a room by then, a real room, in a shared house on the north side, 3 blocks from where he had lived before everything collapsed. His tools back, his license current, a client list accumulating. Celeste's properties had led to referrals, the way honest work does when enough are watching. On the afternoon he finished the last Fenwick Street job, he stopped at the bench outside Aldenmore Station on his way home. He sat a few minutes, completing a circle he had not planned. The morning with Juniper felt both very far and very close, the way significant things feel when you know how small they were in the moment and how much they mattered. He bought a sandwich from the Mercer Street cart. He ate it on the bench. It was the best sandwich he had ever had. Kindness given from the last of what you have to a child you don't know on a pavement outside a station is not a small thing. It carries, it moves through people, it returns in forms you could not have planned and would not have dared to hope for. Give what you have. The rest always finds its way back. If this story touched your heart, please like, share, subscribe, and comment. Let's spread more stories of kindness and hope together.